Welcome to another episode of UGE Brothers Vlogs. Guys, this is going to be Savage Kitchen. Guys, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And in the light of the holidays, I am prepared to make a delicious double chocolate pecan pie. You gotta whisper it, because it's naughty. I mean, you're going to want to watch it like this, because it's that bad for you. Anyway, guys, I had the pleasure of baking this up because I'm not a baker, so I did need help. So you know what? I brought in my grandmother, and I actually brought in my baby sister as well. So we all had fun. We made this up, and oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. Whew. It is so incredibly rich, though. You're gonna have to nap for like days after trying this, but it is worth it. And let me tell you something. So incredibly easy to make, guys. This recipe is incredibly old. It's been in my family for quite a while. It's from a newspaper from like years ago. I mean, it's yellow. It's got ads in the back for like stuff for like a few cents. So pretty dang old. Anyway, guys, let's get cooking. Alright, guys, so this recipe is actually really fun and actually really simple. Now, it is easy to mess up, so you want to be very patient. I am not much of a baker, and baking takes a lot of patience and concentration. So I did bring in my grandmother here. I did bring in my little baby sister here, and we sort of worked together on this. Just when you're making desserts, you just really want to be very patient. Stick with the recipe. Don't rush things. Just don't do anything crazy. Now, what I have here is a glass double boiler. You do not have to have glass. These are actually kind of hard to find. This is one that my grandmother's had for many years. I like them because it distributes the heat really well as you can actually see the water. Important here is when you're melting chocolate, you do not want to have your water too hot. You do not want to have it boiling, because if it is, what happens is you end up overcooking your chocolate. And what happens when you do that is you actually lose the sheen, the shine, and you actually directly impact the flavor of your chocolate. You do not want to do that when it comes to desserts. So just be very patient. If you're using a regular pot, just don't put the top on until you have taken that temperature down in the water, made sure the boiling has actually stopped. You just want it right there below boiling so it heats through and melts the chocolate. That's all you want. So with the metal, you just have to look at it, then put the top on. With this, it's a little bit easier to see, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Plus, these sort of have a sort of concave base to it, and it just heats a lot better than the pots, but you can still do it in the pot just fine. And notice here, I'm just being very patient. It does take some time. Let the chocolate do its thing. So keep giving it a nice, easy, gentle stir. Don't overwork the chocolate. Just let it melt. Just be very patient, and don't stick your finger in there. I know you're going to be tempted because it looks delicious, but don't do it. Now, look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful. This is one pouch of semi-sweet morsels that I've done here. Just let that melt nice. Once it gets to about this stage, take it off, let it cool. You want it to cool because you are going to put this in eggs. And if you put in eggs, you're going to end up with chocolate scrambled eggs if you're not careful. So let that cool. Right here, I'm getting my brown sugar ready. It's a half a cup of brown sugar. You want to pack that down into your half cup. And also I'm getting ready my pecans, or pecans, however you like to say it. And these are actually 1 cup of chopped pecans. Getting that ready to go. Making's all about your measurements, sticking with the recipe, just being very patient. Now, I use the stand mixer here. You do not have to use a stand mixer. You can use a hand mixer as well if you've got one of those. But I got this here for the holidays, and man, I love this thing. I love this thing. So I went ahead and threw in 2 eggs, and I'm using the whisk on this machine, and I'm putting a bunch of air in there. Essentially, you're going to whisk 2 eggs with just 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And you're going to basically beat that until it becomes a very light, very yellowy, very lemony color. It becomes very foamy. Just don't worry about rushing this. Be very, very patient. Again, baking takes patience. It's very easy to mess up a baking recipe. Trust me. Just be very, very patient. Once you get the eggs to a very lemony consistency, look how beautiful and light and yellow that is. And then you're basically done. Then you can go ahead and start putting your brown sugar in. Essentially what I did is I just scooped it in a little bit at a time. Let the eggs and the salt and that brown sugar sort of incorporate. You're going to notice that the texture of your eggs actually starts to change. It becomes more and more like a batter-like consistency. And see here, I think I get pretty close. I'm just basically scooping out the sides. Now they do make, for this mixer, certain whisking things that have like spatulas and things attached to them to scrape the sides. This is just what comes with it, so I don't have that. So you just sort of have to back up and just sort of scoop things with a spatula, but that's okay. And you notice again, look, it's starting to really turn into sort of a batter-like consistency. It's thick, very foamy. Now in this case, I don't think we did it quite enough because the pie itself, when it was done, it was still very soft. So it could have taken just a little bit longer here. It still ended up great, but I would say just be very patient. Get a little bit thicker than you see here. Get a little bit thicker. And I think that your pie would actually come together much better. But again, this is the first time I've ever made this, so sometimes mistakes do happen. But it is just that simple to sort of mess things up. Once you sort of get it thickened, then you can go ahead and put your beautiful chocolate in there. Now, again, this is cooled down because those are eggs, right? So if you were to put hot chocolate in there, you're going to end up cooking your eggs. You're going to end up with a weird, funky, sweet, scrambled eggs mixture, and you don't want that. You want to end up with a batter, a chocolatey batter. So just really get a nice little spatula, scoop all of that goodness in there. You'll notice when you actually start to sort of spin this around, that chocolate is pretty darn heavy. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And see, I'm using the same whisk and just really sort of incorporating that in. Look how different the texture is in this mixture. Like, it looks like a batter now. It's going to start turning a dark, dark chocolatey color as the chocolate starts to gradually incorporate into your mixture. Again, could have beat this a little bit longer before I put the chocolate in, and this would have been a little bit thicker than you see here now. But honestly, I'm happy with this. It was still really, really good. Just when I took it out of the oven, it was just a little bit more of a lava double chocolate pie, a molten pie, than anything. Now, I did go ahead and put it in the fridge, let it set real good, and that took care of it. But you could easily just give it a little bit more of a whisk to make it a little bit thicker. Now, go ahead and put your pecans in as well. And I didn't want to waste anything, so I got everything off the whisk. But look how tough that is. thick that is. It's really, really tough to sort of turn at this point because it's just a heavy, 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 heavy batter. That's a testament to how rich and chocolatey this particular dish is. Just what I'm doing here is I'm basically folding. I'm not stirring, I'm folding. So I'm going to the outside and sort of down at the bottom, scooping, and I'm folding over and folding over and doing that again and again and again. And that's actually incorporating the pecans throughout my batter mixture. Now at this point, you're going to want to put your second bag of semi-sweet chocolate morsels. This is a double chocolate pecan pie. As if it wasn't already rich, we're going to throw in another bag of semi-sweet chocolate morsels. Oh my goodness. Oof. Ugh. This is looking crazy, crazy good. I mean, you can just tell. You can just tell how rich and heavy this particular dish is. Man. Now what I did was I got a sort of an organic pie crust. You can do whatever you want. You can make a pie crust. You can get sort of a fresh one made. This one is actually really good. I found this one in the frozen section. And it was actually really good quality. It didn't have any weird chemicals, no high fructose corn syrup. It's very clean and organic. It was very light, flaky sort of pie crust. I really don't like sort of the thick, heavy pie crusts when it comes to a pecan pie. So I'm just scooping all that mixture in there, getting it nice and clean and evenly distributed throughout the entire pie. And after that, all you do is decorate it. You take pecan halves and you sort of decorate the top how you want it. And that's really up to you in terms of how you're being creative. We let my sister here start the process, so she just kind of, did whatever she thought was cool. So, but you can take it, you could take your pecans and you can sort of work it around into like a beautiful ring. It just really depends on what your intention is, whether it is to like give it to somebody or maybe enter it into a contest, or if it's just to feed your family. It doesn't necessarily matter so much about how it actually looks, but look how beautiful that is. Look how shiny that batter is. It is absolutely gorgeous. See, if you overcooked your chocolate, you overworked your chocolate, you wouldn't have any of that. It just would not look like that. So she sort of just does like 1 or 2 pieces per slice, sort of just kind of counting and things like that. But again, just get creative with this. This is really up to you. I mean, this is just the pie, but she sort of went with what she felt looked cool, and we just sort of let her do it. This is really the first time I've ever actually had the opportunity to bake with my sister, and it was actually a lot of fun. My grandmother was sort of overseeing things, making sure we didn't screw it up too badly. She's a real pro in the kitchen, but she's got some funny freaking stories, man, about how baking and things like that just completely screwed up. She did a Milky Way pie that actually she ended up using the wrong type of flour, and it blew up the entire oven. Like there was chocolate all over the kitchen. As she said, it took weeks to get it out. And even then, every time you turn on the oven, you just smelled Milky Way pie for like the longest time. But man, see, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Like I said, I'm not really a baker. I don't really do this a lot, but this was a ton of fun. And I was really surprised about how simple and straightforward and easy this is. But once you do that, just go ahead and throw that in the oven about 25 minutes at 375. Really that simple. And once it's done, you'll see this sort of crust form on the top. You noticed very evenly, sort of beautiful, sort of shiny, chocolatey crust, just like that. Look how beautiful that is. You get a nice toasty texture, roasted texture on the pecans outside. And oh my God, it's good. I had to do some like warm up stretches, get my body ready to go. Gonna get my body prepared to try this. Plus my grandmother was standing there watching me shoot this part, which is super awkward. She's never seen me act a fool while I'm trying to try something, but look how that ended up. Now this is the day after. This is after that pie has sat in the fridge and sort of set together. When we first took it out of the oven, when we tried it on Thanksgiving, it was very lava-like, very molten, which is pretty awesome. But look how that looks. Focus. Oh, boom. Boom goes the dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite. This is so freaking good. But let me tell you something. You're good for like one slice for like a week. I mean, this is that rich, that chocolatey, that delicious. It reminds me sort of like a pecan sort of fudge-esque type thing, like you're eating straight up fudge. It's that rich. And I like how the pie crust was very, very light, very, very flaky, and it just almost like it wasn't there. As I eat a lot of regular pecan pies, that crust tends to be very thick and very hearty, very heavy, and you always end up with that last bit of crust when you're done with the pie, and I can't stand that. I like a crust that you can actually eat with the pie, and it just adds that perfect textural element that's just makes it like sort of good instead of something that literally just holds the good stuff inside. Oh my God. I had to take a walk. I had to take a walk on this one. It is that good. It is so stinking delicious, guys. And it's so easy. It's so freaking easy. Like you can easily make this pie. I would just maybe only do it once a year if you're going to do it, because it is like the worst pie for you. It is the worst pie for you. Like if you're dieting, sorry guys. I apologize. But listen, on the special occasions, holidays, so good. So good. So good. Alright guys, so that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Guys, this is so easy to make. It's worth it. Try it over the next few holidays. It's worth it. Man, but let me tell you, it's rich. It is chocolatey. It is incredibly good. Oh man, anyway guys, so much stuff to come down the pipeline. I got so many recipes, tons of stuff, actually traditional family stuff that has been in my family for several hundred years, like crazy old recipes that I'm about to bring out, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So stay tuned guys. If you want any kind of merchandise from us, go to ujoebrothers.com, and of course always comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Anyway guys, much love to you. Peace.